Welcome to Monday, January 27th. How's everybody doing? Looks like we had the refs hand the Chiefs another Super Bowl trip. You know, it is what it is, guys. Got a little bit of a late start today. Out of the house, had to check on my parents. Normally my mom gets up around, I don't know, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, turns the TV on, turns the pot of coffee on. And she didn't do that this morning, so I checked on her. She was sleeping. She just didn't wake up in time to do the coffee, but she was breathing, so she's okay. So that's the life of a caretaker, guys, is checking on your parents, making sure they're still breathing. Making sure they made it through the night. So I was driving over here, I was listening to, what's his name? This dude, Ken. I guess he's an ex-stripper or some shit. He puts on this drama panel and they talk and all this kind of stuff. It's part of this Boit community, bottom of YouTube. And so they were talking about this other guy named Corey. Now, Corey is an alcoholic and doesn't want to help himself. I don't know how old he is. I think he's definitely younger than me. He's probably a Gen Xer, somewhere, born in the 70s maybe. But the dude is an alcoholic. He doesn't want to fix himself. Hey, Solid Tank, good morning. And so, with alcoholism, you need to hit rock bottom and want to be helped or want to stop, and he obviously doesn't want to stop. They were talking about some time where he had to be airlifted by a fucking helicopter and taken to the hospital. And he still didn't stop drinking. That wasn't a wake-up call for this guy. So, people like that, you can't help. You just have to kind of watch them slowly die online, They go online, they act stupid, and then they're drunk as fuck, and nothing ever changes with people like that, They don't want to improve themselves. Hey, Cindy, good morning. What's the temperature out there for you, Cindy? It's 25 degrees here in Connecticut. How's Arizona treating you? So, I was listening to this Corey situation, and it's kind of segue into what I wanted to talk about today, which is the Gen Zs, the generation born around the year 2000. So now they're in their late 20s to mid 20s, that kind of thing. Maybe early 30s. I don't know if that generation kind of overlaps, the prior generation, but I'm seeing a lot of videos of Gen Z, either blaming boomers for them having a hard time or just giving up altogether. 49 degrees, you're surviving. Yeah. Well, 49's nice. It's not too bad at all. Camping weather, as we say up here. High 40s, lower 50s is perfect sleeping weather in a camper. That shit Kahoozy. What's up? How you doing, buddy? It's gonna be 72 in Florida. Nice, Solid Tank. Nice. Solid Tank, are you seeing people leaving Florida? That's another thing I'm hearing. There's a lot of these old people that, even the old, not even the boomers, the if there's any generation left before them. But I guess the boomers, the early boomers from the born in the 1940s and early 50s, they're all leaving Florida because of the taxes and the insurance and everything being pricing them out. You know, vaccinated and anti-vaxxer. American culture has been in decline. The economy is dependent on printing dollars, accumulating national debt. Yeah, absolutely. What is it, 47 trillion now? Something like that. 47 trillion dollars. And that's the thing with the Gen Zs, you know, they don't have the purchasing power that the early boomers had, you know, where they could have just the father working, the mother raising 2 or 3 kids, staying at home. You know, my generation, I was the last year of the boomers. My first wife was an early Gen Xer. You know, we had a little tougher. I mean, it wasn't bad looking at the way things are now. Like, you know, both of us worked at the time of our marriage, and then we were married for about a year or so. Tried to have kids. She had a miscarriage, and then about a year and a half into the marriage, she had our first daughter. And so we decided that I would double down on the work. I would work 2 jobs. She would stay home with the children, with the one child. You know, we had a small 2-bedroom condominium. We sold that in 1994. The second daughter was born in 1993. And we bought a house. We bought a 4-bedroom house, colonial style house in Connecticut, for $147,500. Yeah, with a decent fenced-in backyard, swimming pool, cul-de-sac road. $147,000. That house now is probably worth about high 300s, and only so because the town that it's in is kind of dilapidating. It's falling apart. If it was in a nicer town, it would easily be a $400,000 or $500,000 house. You know, so the Gen Zs, you know, with the purchasing power of the dollar, inflation eating away, you know, prices going up on everything, and the wages not keeping up. Generation Z is either giving up or they're buckling down and thinking out of the box. I mean, that's what they have to do to survive. I feel bad for them, you know. I really do, because it's going to be tough. It's going to suck. AI is coming in. It's already here. All the idiot jobs, or a lot of the idiot jobs, not all of them, a lot of the idiot jobs, cashiers at supermarkets, they've been replaced with self-scan. You know, you have 6 or 8 or 10 self-scan units with one person standing there if some fucking coupon or something doesn't work, or they need an age check on a 6-pack of beer or something, you know. But other than that, you know, those mindless jobs are being replaced first, and eventually it'll get worse. Even the more intelligent jobs, really at the top of the food chain, the financial bros, you know, those guys that you know, study finance and everything, and trade stocks, they're all going to be replaced also eventually with algorithms and AI things that'll, you know, look at historical things and you know, data, and replace them. It'll be everything will be automated. And so, I put a link in my comment section. Asmon Gold was like a big YouTuber. He had a good video about an hour, less than an hour long, about this subject, and he came to the conclusion that this is all planned. They're planning on making it tough for the Gen Z and the subsequent generations, to live, to survive, and they're people are getting, if they're getting married, they're either not getting married, they're giving up on marriage, they're getting married and they're not having any kids. I have two daughters, born in 1991, 1993, one granddaughter between the two of them. And it looks like that's the way it's going to be. They've indicated both that they don't want kids. They don't want any more kids because it's too tough for them to survive. I'm thinking about snorting something tonight. What do you think? I don't think you should do that, buddy. Benjamin, don't do that. You know what we should do? Go to the gym. Go to the gym, work out. Or go walk. Go walk somewhere where you can walk a couple miles. Do that. Any suggestions, Benjamin? Those are my suggestions. They are building houses around me constantly, which are filling up, but there's always some who move back out, too. I drove down to Florida a couple years ago, and I was looking for property, right? I was looking in North Carolina, Oak Island, North Carolina, and I went down as far down as St. Augustine. And you're driving down 95, and then you got to cut over to get to the shore, to get to St. Augustine, and I forgot what the route was. But, 2 years ago, they were building these new constructions, big-ass billboards, new neighborhood, new development, prices starting in the 500s. And I had to do a double take. Prices starting in the fucking 500s? Who can afford this? And the thing with the new construction is it's all shit. It's built cheaply. You look at any videos now about these new constructions, the roofs start leaking after weeks or months after people move in. Fucking everything's cheaply built. The best built houses were built from like the 1950s up until about 1980, 1985. So if you do have the means to buy a property, that's what I would look at. 1980 or earlier. I mean, even the earlier stuff is built well, but requires much more maintenance. You have to upgrade the electricity. You have to upgrade the pretty much everything in an older house. With with asbestos and all this kind of shit in it. Gen Z is cooked. I guess so, man. I guess so. I feel bad for them. I start seeing these videos. I'm giving up. I'm, fuck this 9 to 5 shit. And my initial thought was, you fucking people are lazy. And maybe so. Maybe some of them are lazy, but I did a deeper dive into it, and there's much more than just people being lazy. It is tougher. The prices are high on everything. Vehicle. Even if they live in a fucking vehicle, they're gonna have to pay $500, $600, $700, $800 per month for a vehicle, not including insurance. You gotta have a physical address. So you use your parents' address or whatever, or a friend's address, and it's crazy out there, man. This is a crazy world. It's a crazy world we live in. Good morning, Bradley. How you doing, buddy? As the dollar continues to lose momentum, the generation before you ruined everything, Stan. Well, I'm the boomer, Bradley. I was born in 1964. That's the last year of the boomers. And I don't, if that's who you're referring to, I don't know if they ruined everything. They just were born at the best time for America. Post-war, post World War II, America became the dominant force in the world. You know, and that's resulted in the baby boom, and the early boomers from the late 40s into the 50s. They had it real good. They had pensions, man. Every job. Not just municipal, you didn't have to be a firefighter or a cop or a teacher to have a pension. You could get a pension in a machine shop, making tool and die shit like that. They had pensions for people. Not anymore, man. All that's gone. You looking for little... No, Juan, I'm not. Juan, stop projecting that kind of nonsense, bro. Okay? If that's what you're thinking, if that's what's on your mind, Juan Flores, I suggest you get some help. Really. 80% of all U.S. dollar in the economy was printed in the last 5 years. Yeah. Yeah, it's unsustainable. I mean, something's got to give here. Something's got to give. The thing that they always do when shit starts to fucking fall apart is they have a world war. And so now you kind of see that playing out with Russia. They played Russia into this conflict over there, and now Trump's Trump promised Russia Ukraine peace on his first day, and now he's attacking Russia. So Trump's no different than any of these other people, dude. He's being controlled. He's doing what he's told to do. Don't get fooled by that dude. Yeah, I always said Trump is a good bullshit artist, He's a good entertainer, he's funny. And that's where he gained his fame, is when he went on these shows as The Apprentice and all this kind of stuff, and he's firing people and doing this and that. And that kind of pulled him out of bankruptcy, actually, guys. Is that, getting a show and getting like a multi-million-dollar, contract with them, fucking saved his ass. His broke ass. He was deeply leveraged, man. Doctor gave a lecture about hygiene at the local library. Said that men have choice to wipe back to front or front to back. Yet for us, we only wipe front to back. Male privilege. Well, let me think. I wipe front to back myself. Yeah. And I wash my hands with soap afterwards, Good morning, Putty Cat. How are you, my friend? A builder's objective is fast, cheap, and move the thing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Illegals building everything out here. Illegals building everything out here, Cindy says. Yeah. Well, I mean, Trump made this illegal thing. He's kicking some of them out. Okay. I mean, but even Trump had illegals working for him in Mar-a-Lago. That's a fact, guys. I mean, they say one thing and they do another. Cheap labor is good for them. Yeah. So they put some lipstick on the problem. Like they deport a few people, and then it goes back to the same way it was. New construction is about 300 where I am in Florida. The prices are crazy near hot areas. Near the hot areas. I'm lucky my house was built in 2005, which is better than what they're doing now. Yeah. Yeah, I would never buy a new house. Newly built house. No way. No fucking way. And when I come across these foreclosures, I avoid them like the plague. I look at the age of the house. It's one of the first things I look at is this something new that's going to require extensive work? Or is this an old house that can be fixed up fairly quickly? Many in the younger generation claim things such as depression. I think that word is very overused. I guess so. I mean, the internet came around and it changed the social interaction forever. People don't go out and meet people anymore. They sit online chitting and chatting. They don't go to the gym so much. I mean, some people do. I certainly do. I don't do it enough. I need to do more. I need to start walking every day. If I'm not going to go to the gym, like I wasn't planning on going to the gym today, I'm going to go out and I'm going to walk around. I'm going to walk around the block a few times. I'm going to take a nice long walk, a nice 2-mile circular walk around the neighborhood. And get some steps in. Get it, I don't know how many, 3,000, 4,000 steps in, whatever that is. Social Security needs to be phased out. Terribly run program. You give money to the government and it does not increase in value. Horrible. Well, I mean, Social Security was never meant to be a retirement plan. It was meant to supplement the pensions and things that people were getting back then. That's the problem. They don't have those pensions anymore, and people are retiring with nothing in the bank and just what they expect to get from Social Security. That's the problem. You can't rely on the government to give you anything, only to take what you have. You can't rely on the government to give you fucking anything these days, guys. Yeah, Juan's hoping. Yeah, Juan, that was a strange comment, Juan. I find a lot of that on the internet. People projecting their own deviancies or whatever. That's what it looks like to me. This dude's into some weird shit. But as far as Gen X, what do they do? I mean, you got to double down. You got to think out of the box, guys. You got to, instead of spending 6, 8, 10 hours a day gaming, get a fucking second job. Instead of complaining about your fucking rent being high, taking a roommate. If you can, move back with your parents. Help them out with their bills. They don't have it fucking easy either. Every other country, the multi-generation households are a normal thing, except here in the United States. It's very weird how we were so, America was so blessed that became a real thing. It's single family housing, not multi-generational. Other than, parents having kids. Kids grow up, they move out. And then there's empty nesters, and so the house is too big, so they sell it. Or they leave it to one of the kids or something. But, I think if there's a slow collapse, that's what we're going to see more. We're going to see more families rebonding. You know, adult children moving back in with their parents, helping them out. That's what I ended up doing. I ended up moving back in with my fucking parents. And to be honest, I don't have to pay rent. I pay their bills. I pay their taxes, and I'm fucking piling money in the bank right now, guys. Let's see. Messages kind of froze up. Let me see if I'm getting them all here. Sometimes the thing freezes up. I want to get to all the messages here before I sign off for today, guys. Let's see. Yeah, so obviously there's more messages that I missed. Sorry, guys. New construction. One thing about land is that it's a finite resource. Yeah. You know, and there's ways to get cheap land. You don't have to buy retail land. Look at your local, your state, or your county, or your city, or your town tax deed or tax lien auctions. You know, these are people that are defaulting on their paying the taxes on the property, and sometimes it's only a few $100s. You know, if you're in fucking rural Kansas somewhere or something like that, you could have, 5 acres of land where, there's maybe $300-400 of taxes unpaid on it, and you pay it. If it's a deed state, I don't know if Kansas in this example is a tax deed or a tax lien. A tax deed is when the deed to the actual property, the real estate, is sold. And in Connecticut here, it's a redeemable deed, which means that the person owning the property still has 6 months to pay the new owner everything they paid plus 1.5% per month. If after 6 months they don't pay, the deed reverts to the new owner. So that's one way in Connecticut that I know of to buy some cheap land. And I'm constantly looking for opportunities to buy land here in Connecticut. Connecticut is one of the wealthier states in the nation, and I could easily flip land, guys, easily that way. There was one piece of land I was looking at in Norwich, and it was adjacent to a house owned by an old guy. I forgot what it was. It might have been like an acre, about an acre, maybe a little under an acre. And I did a video of it. It's like a stone wall in front of the thing. That piece of land sold for $6,000. Somebody bought it for $6,000. The taxes on that land, believe it or not, the accrued taxes and whatever else they tacked on, was $32,000. So the town of Norwich was looking for $32,000 from somebody. Nobody came up to the plate, and they lowered the bid down to whatever, and maybe $5,000, and it got bid up to $6,000. And so some guy lucked out. He got a nice piece of land for $6,000. He could flip that for double the money easily. One thing about land is finite. Yeah, solid tank only 300,000. Many depression. Wakulla and Tampa, but it's growing fast. Social Security needs to be phased out. So you know, say smart. Tail wags dog. What? Why do we use slave labor to prop up one of the biggest and most needed industries in America? It's always been slave labor, cry on. It's always been slave labor here in the United States. And now the slave, my generation, they tied us into a 30-year mortgage, into that kind of debt. because the colleges back then in the 70s and 80s weren't that expensive, and they could be paid off fairly quickly. But they tied you into a fucking mortgage, though. But again, the prices were much lower than they are now. Physical exertion helps with depression, improves your mental status. Yeah. I've talked about the systemic degradation of the family cell for years. Yeah. Agriculture, tax exemption. Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of angles you guys can explore in your particular areas to stay ahead. I would look at, like I said, if you want to buy property, look at the tax delinquent properties in your state. Learn the laws in your state. Each state is different. Each state does their tax auctions differently. So become familiar with it. Take a day off from work and go to one of these auctions and see what happens. Most of them are done live in person. Some of them are not. Some of them are done online. Learn it, and become cash heavy. Salt away as much money as you can. Where you have 20, 30, 40, $50,000 in an account that you can go and strike out and buy a piece of land and double your money, in a couple of months. Money makes money. That's the way this country is. If you have no money, if you're just surviving paycheck to paycheck, you're not going to get anywhere in this world. You're just going to be able to maybe keep a roof over your head. That's it. But if you have money, money will always make more money if you know what you're doing. When is my next planned trip? I don't have any more planned trips to visit her. Putty Cat. Putty Cat, I bought her 2 albums. She's not good with money at all, right? That's why I don't give her cash, because she blows it on stupid shit. She should be saving her money to fix her fucking teeth, which are all rotted and falling out. Instead, she gets a little money from YouTube. She goes buys a fucking joystick for a game. That's the mentality of this person. And so I don't give her money. What I did do to support her channel is I like music, so I was buying her albums. She does this Sunday night music show on Kick. And her music, is like this old ass pop, 70s pop type of shit, Debbie Boone, all this kind of shit that nobody wants to listen to. So I started buying her better albums. I bought her, Def Leppard, Led Zeppelin, stuff like that, And these are brand new albums that I'm buying for her. $30 a piece, sometimes more. I recently, it's about a month and a half ago, I bought 2 albums for her. I bought Sublime's Greatest Hits on an LP. And I bought The Cars, an 80s band, Greatest Hits. She's probably familiar with some of the Cars songs, hearing them on the radio back in that time area. I don't think she's familiar with Sublime. But you guys know Sublime. They were a good band up until the singer OD'd. How long ago was that? Like 1990? Jesus, a long time ago. But anyway, I bought these 2 albums. They cost me $50, guys. And I'm waiting for her to play them. I'm not mentioning it to her, because she should know. These were gifted to me. Let me play them. And it's been about 4 or 5 weeks. She hasn't played them yet. So I'm like, why the fuck am I sending this shit to her? She doesn't appreciate it. She doesn't thank me for it. And she doesn't play it. I mean, I might as well flush the money down the toilet. There's no reason for me to go there anymore. Steely Dan. Yeah, Steely Dan would be great for her to play. There's so many great artists from the 70s that she doesn't even have any clue about. But she plays, and then now she's gotten, the last couple of weeks, she's gotten into playing these, just playing videos, audio from videos or MP3s or whatever. And so whatever, I popped in yesterday and she's playing this fucking pop shit. I pop in again and like a half hour later, she's still doing it, she's singing along. So I guess she's enjoying what she's doing. That's fine. Let her do what she's doing. I'm not into that shit. And so I popped out, man. I did some things and I fell asleep, man. I got to get up early. She sleeps till fucking 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, I'm already at work for 3 hours. Send him to me, I'll play him. All right. Solid tank. All right, guys, 6 o'clock, I got to roll. I mean, I don't know what to tell you Gen Z guys other than store cash as much as you can and use that cash to grow cash. That's the only way you're going to keep your head above water going forward. It really is. You got to play the game, man. It's a rich man's world here in the United States. The middle class is eradicated, and they're killing off the rest of the lower classes. Because they're not needed anymore. They're all being replaced by AI. That's the way it is, bro. Buy silver? Yeah, you can buy silver as a hedge. I buy like an ounce of silver every couple of weeks. But I don't buy like the silver rounds, because some of those have been proved to be fraudulent. I buy like an American Eagle or a British, whatever it is, whatever it's called. It's like 2 pounds. It's 1 ounce. Canadian maple leafs. Those are pretty cheap. I'd probably stick to those three: U.S., Canada, and England. If you can, buy some gold. Great to see you too, Cindy. Thanks for stopping by. But anyway, guys, I got to roll. I'll try to figure out a topic maybe tomorrow morning. We can get a little more people in here. Once I start doing these shows again on a regular, I think we'll get a better audience. But, thanks for coming in, everybody. I appreciate you sticking around for the Random Guy podcast. And I'm just a random guy. My name is Stan, and, thanks for coming by. Take care, guys.